Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for our first ever virtual festival. This is the second Mandala Makers Festival, which we hope will become an annual event. And the aim of this festival is to support emerging artists who define their work as rooted in or working from South Asian culture and traditions. This festival is also in alignment with Mandala's mission, which is to support South Asian culture through education and entertainment, through the many, many disciplines and range of performing art forms that come from South Asia and its diaspora, and the cultures that influence the art forms from South Asia. And this festival seeks to invest in a new generation of South Asian artists here in Chicago. Of course, the pandemic has been a large force for all of our artists over the last 3 months. And you all know this because you're here. We're in this space together. The way that we perform has really been changed. The way that we present our work has changed. Artists don't have the opportunities to perform for live audiences. Employment opportunities are diminished. Teaching positions are diminished. And while this is an incredible financial hardship on many artists, it is also one that impedes their creativity. Beyond artists, the pandemic has deeply impacted vulnerable communities in terms of public health, safety, and violence at systemic levels. And with these rising tensions, we do find ourselves in an incredible moment where there is a growth in solidarity for the Black Lives Matters movement. And we're seeing a surge in efforts to take action, to see change for Black communities and the range of marginalized communities that are in our country. And artists always see themselves as responding to social currents and look to see how they can transform their art to be a part of this action. So tonight's performances are going to maybe uplift you and transport you through music, dance, and storytelling. And you may also find yourself pausing and seeing how you fit within frameworks presented. And we hope that you take away space for reflection and renewal of perspective. Again, tonight's proceeds, if you donate, will go back towards our artists and towards the festival operations, and will support the continued artistry of our artists as they create in a time that's uncertain for the creative field and the art the arts industry. And before I go, I'll leave you with one thought. We do not know what the future holds, but we can be a part of its navigation. And let the show begin.
South Asian Americans exist in the United States, our rights and our identity, because of Black communities and Black activism. And it goes even deeper than the much cited recently law of 1965. However, most South Asian Americans would tell you that they did not know this, that they did not know that our livelihood here is a direct result of the work of Black communities. One critical tool of white supremacy that enables it to persist is the reliance on depriving people of their histories, particularly of their shared histories. The history of South Asians coming to the US has been essentially erased. It is mentioned in history books as if the laws happened in a vacuum. The law of 1965 that enabled immigration and the preceding Magnuson laws and Luceller laws are written as if white society simply granted them to us, and not as if, in reality, Black communities fought hard to make them happen. White supremacy also relies on convincing people that there is an existence of a racial hierarchy or ladder, with whiteness at the top and Blackness at the bottom, and everyone else scattered somewhere in between. The myth is that communities will rise and come to advantage if they aspire towards whiteness and remain obedient within this ladder by distinguishing themselves specifically from Black Americans. Toni Morrison perfectly encaptures this in her essay, On the Backs of Blacks. She said, although US history is awash in labor battles, political fights, and property wars among all religious and ethnic communities, their histories are persistently framed as struggles between recent arrivals and Blacks. The move into mainstream America always requires buying into the notion of American Blacks as the real aliens. Whatever the ethnicity or nationality of the immigrant, his or her nemesis is understood to be African American. We see evidence of buying into this myth clearly in the South Asian community today. Most South Asians who I'm referring to are those who immigrated after 1965, which means that they are mostly professionals. This law required that people who immigrate are skilled labor, so they are mostly doctors, engineers, and scientists. Their approach in the United States thus far has been to mostly quietly hide in white suburbs, attempting to blend into white society. This approach of attempting not to ruffle feathers comes largely from a feeling that they are indebted to white society for allowing them to come to the US. Many also, when pressed, will say that it is partly because of fear, that the same laws that allowed us to come here could be stripped away of us, that the same way that we were allowed to come here could be taken from us. This could not be further from the truth, given that our true indebtedness is to Black Americans who allowed us to come here, actually quite with the resistance of white society. The project I'm doing today, I've entitled The Great Lie, because I want to explore with you today this fallacy that South Asians have been convinced of, that limits both our political voice and our ability to advocate loudly for the Black community. The lie is that we are actually indebted to white society, and that by being obedient to white society and associating with white society is how we will raise ourselves. This could not be further from the truth, given, as we realize, that we are indebted to the Black community who brought us here. And by attempting to blend into white society, we have not raised ourselves, and we can still see that we are not seen as part of whiteness today. Some examples of South Asian discrimination that we experience are income discrimination relative to whites for equal amounts of educational attainment, leadership discrimination relative to whites, for example, in communities like medicine and engineering, where although there are preponderance of South Asians, they do not achieve the highest levels of leadership, and in post 9/11 and coronavirus pandemic hate crimes that show us that there is still a quick resortment to scapegoating of South Asians and Asians when the American narrative requires it. I call today upon our community to let go of this lie, Let's realize that we are powerful when we ally with the Black community. Every moment in our history where we have been raised has been because of allyship with the Black community. Keeping our heads down and trying to blend in with whiteness has not worked. And the lie that it has worked, we must reject. I want us to see this truth by exploring through the lens of a dance that is very close to my heart, Bhangra. Bhangra is a South Asian folk dance originating in the northern part of India called Punjab. Some of the first Punjabi immigrants who came to the US came here between 1900 and 1910, and they brought this dance tradition with them. By viewing the evolution of Bhangra in US history, we can have a mirror into exactly how the Black community has elevated, enabled, and raised our voices, and has become incorporated into Bhangra culture and dance. By incorporating hip-hop, rap, and Afrobeat from Black culture, Bhangra artists have evolved over time. Tracing from the first immigrants today, we can see how indebted we are to the Black community. So I invite you now to take it back to 1915 to see folk Bhangra, how it originally came here.
The law of 1965 is what officially allowed the immigration of professional degree-holding South Asians into the U.S., where it was previously banned, but this was only the tip of the iceberg. What allowed this law to pass was decades of the Black community's activism, leading to a series of laws that piecemeal lifted bans on South Asian immigration. The Magnuson Act of 1943 partially reversed the Chinese Exclusion Acts of the 1880s and allowed 105 Chinese immigrants per year. In 1946, the Luce-Celler Act partially reversed the 1924 ban on South Asian immigration and naturalization by allowing 100 South Asian and 100 Filipino immigrants per year. These milestones happened due to pressure from Black activists like the famed W.E.B. Du Bois, a famed historian, sociologist, and author who actively pushed that no community could have rights until every community did. He was a powerful advocate of South Asian and Asian immigration rights and a vocal orator about the need for India's liberation from British rule. Other activists like Langston Hughes in the 1940s, a poet, novelist, and playwright, as well as Mary McLeod Bethune in the 1950s, who founded the National Council of Negro Women, both spoke openly about the need for South Asian and Asian rights if we were to have peace for all of humanity. These pushes resulted in the law of 1965. As the new wave of South Asian immigrants started coming in after 1965, mostly doctors, scientists, and engineers, Bhangra started to transform. The growing South Asian communities, feeling othered and left out by white society's discrimination, felt a kinship towards Black communities, particularly drawn to hip-hop and rap with its portrayal of racism, discrimination, and the communities left out of America's mainstream. Early Bhangra folk started to take on elements from hip-hop, reggae, and rap. Singers like Bully Sagoo and Gurdas Mann, and later Punjabi MC and Jazzy B, were very influenced by hip-hop music, instrumentation, and sounds, and started incorporating instruments like the bass, drum set, and saxophone into their tracks instead of the traditional dole, tumbi, and sarangi. Another motivation for the 1965 law was the U.S. government becoming concerned that its exclusion of Asian immigrants could hurt Chinese-U.S. allyship in the war against Japan. So as it passed the 1965 law, it also organized a sweeping campaign in the news to reframe Asians as industrious and law-abiding citizens. Previously, Asians were portrayed as gamblers, drug users, and sexually wayward thieves. This transformation was the beginning of convincing the public of the model minority myth. In 1966, William Peterson, a sociologist at UC Berkeley, helped popularize comparisons between Japanese Americans and African Americans in his New York Times headline, "Success Story, Japanese American Style." He portrayed Black people as being at odds with Japanese people. He portrayed Black people as unable to overcome poverty and compared them to Japanese Americans, who he portrayed as being hardworking and able to overcome struggles. Since then, white society has commonly used Asian Americans and their perceived collective success as a racial weapon against Black Americans in order to minimize the role that white racism plays in the struggles of Black Americans.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together.
Today, we continue to see Bhangra drawing from and being continuously inspired by Black musical traditions. A new wave of artists like Badshah, Mickey Singh, and Guru Randhawa draw particularly from dancehall, Afrobeat, techno, and house music. At the same time, the model minority myth continues to be perpetuated to the detriment of both Black and South Asian communities. While it portrays South Asians as quote-unquote good immigrants who can stay, the implication is that bad immigrants must go. This keeps South Asian and Asian communities of professionals who migrated after 1965 generally politically quiet, tucked away in white suburbs, attempting to blend into white society, keeping their heads down, and trying not to ruffle feathers out of fear of being removed from the country. This fear is not unfounded. Back in 1924, when the South Asian Exclusion Law was passed, those who already had citizenship were in fact stripped of it. At the same time, the model minority myth suppresses discussions of real discrimination that South Asians experience today, and convinced them of the great lie that it is white society to which they are indebted, who they should associate with, and to whom they should be obedient in order to advance. In reality, discrimination against South Asians is neatly hidden behind the model minority myth. For example, income discrimination against South Asians, whereby their educational advantage over whites does not translate into commensurate income. Leadership discrimination, or the bamboo ceiling, whereby South Asians are discriminated against relative to whites in being promoted to positions of power. In medicine, for example, nearly 30% of doctors are Asian, yet less than 10% of leadership in medicine is Asian, and is instead overwhelmingly white. Finally, the political scapegoating anytime that there has been a threat from abroad, for example, in the current coronavirus pandemic, and recently in the hate crimes committed against South Asians in the aftermath of 9/11. Clearly, the model minority myth is detrimental to South Asians, and in this moment when justice for Black Americans is finally getting attention, it is critical that South Asians become aware of their history, that it is to Black Americans to whom we are indebted and must rally behind, and that staying politically quiet and obedient to white society has not helped us, is not helping us currently, and is not the way in the future.
She more than child and oh yeah, oh nah. I like the way that she move. It ain't a dress, but she's so too. We can connect with your handheld. Love coming like a Bluetooth, so fine, cause I want it like oh my, and your body like so grand, getting better like fine wine. Taste mine, cause I like the way you vibe, oh, you looking sexy and you're lighter. Take you up the market, I'm a sign now. We be getting freaky on the weekend. We don't even need to pretend. When I had my heart locked down, baby, you let the thing go. Baby, you let the thing go. Picked it up, down, round. Baby, you let the thing go. Baby, you let the thing go. Worry, I would let you down. Baby, you make the thing go. Okay, you let the thing go. Baby, you let the thing go. Yeah. Beat me below, hey, bakre. Niya chalne ni tere aaj nakhre. Nikali khadi ka to meri tu sang di. Sapni hai na main to ho aaj bakre. Mama feel like a drummer. Holi holi maarde wo gana. Aaj nahi cares this summer. Shawty, we don't want no drama.
Oh, it's me. Hi. Oh, that was quick. My name is Jitesh Jaggi, and I'm a storyteller from Chicago, originally from India. I usually do this in live events, obviously, and the difference is that right now I'm the storyteller, but I'm also the story audience. I can only see my face, which is like my worst nightmare. Anyway, I will keep this short so I can get my story across to you before I exhaust all the 200 English words that I know. That's what I, by the way, imagine when someone says here to me, like, oh, you come from India, how do you speak good English? In my mind, I think they imagine me coming to America like I'm in India, have a suitcase, planning to go to America, packing my clothes in, my toiletries, some English words, some nouns and adjectives, and packing, coming to America, like, good morning. Anyway, story. This story is called The Role That the US Immigration Played in Changing My Marital Status. Like I said, I'm an Indian. I come from Mumbai, where I have lived, born, and brought up my entire life. And my girlfriend was here in Chicago. Whitney and I met each other like the true faithful millennials we are online on Facebook. Soon we took our relationship to the next level by tagging each other on memes. We started as friends, but we saw that there was something happening, and before we knew, we were in a relationship, and we thought we were serious enough to take the relationship offline. Yeah, That was a thing we could do. Remember? If you like someone, you could go out and you could meet them. You could hold their hand, you could give them a hug. Anyway, back in the days. Hamare zaman mein. So, we decided that our relationship was good enough to take it offline. And I was, like I said, I was in Mumbai, she was here in Chicago, and it was a very exciting time. Now imagine, to go on a date, you have to book flights all the way to freaking Thailand because you also believe in equality. So you want to make sure each partner comes halfway through, which I did not mind actually, because Thailand set a great precedent for our interracial marriage. There, especially on the beaches of Pattaya, we saw wonderful examples of 65-year-old white men with their 18-year-old Thai wives till currency exchange took them apart. So over the next couple of years, we kept meeting each other over different halfway points across the world. Whitney once even came to visit me in Mumbai, my hometown, where I introduced her to my mother as a foreign business client who was assigned to me to be taken care of, which I did very well, I must add. So we thought, okay, now is a good time for me to visit her in Chicago. So I applied for a tourist visa to come visit my girlfriend in Chicago. I'm going to read some comments in the meantime. Oh, it's a creaky floor. If you hear me, I'm just walking about. Anyway, so I decided it was a good time to visit her here in Chicago for the first time, and I applied for a tourist visa. And I went to the U.S. Embassy's Mumbai office, the visa office, which I also call the traveler's super conscious, because they decide if it's the right time for you to take a vacation or not. So I was very excited, very ignorant, and I applied for a visa and went inside, and I discovered as soon as I stepped foot in the visa office is that if you belong to a so-called third world country, you are looked at as a criminal until proven innocent. The first question that the visa officer asked me was, how do I believe that on the date you say on your visa you will come back to India, that you will come back and won't stay back in US to seek illegal employment? Now, I was unemployed at the time, so I wasn't even seeking employment in my own country. Nevertheless, it felt hurtful. I had been to 4 other countries before that, and I had never been asked that. This whole line of questioning seemed bizarre to me. To give you a parallel, if the US Immigration Office were like a coffee shop, the first question the barista would ask you would not be, how may I help you, sir? It would be, how do I trust that you won't spill coffee all over your shirt, sir, and some on our lovely American patrons over here? Maybe you will burn this cafe down if we sell you a hot cup of coffee. And I was like, because I have prior experience in handling my coffee? Also, I'm paying you. My visa was rejected twice. My money was too cheap for them, my skin too brown, my accent too thick. Back to freaking Thailand, Whitney and I kind of regrouped. We decided what to do next. We were obviously very dejected. But we put all that energy in just researching our options. And the more we researched, some fun things came up. For example, we found out that the views that the US immigration holds about relationships are far more conservative than my Indian mother. They deem a relationship legitimate only if you're married or engaged. So we decided to beat them at their own game. We were now gonna apply for visa, not tourist visa, but visa as a spouse. We were gonna get engaged on paper we were going to apply for visa as a spouse. So Whitney kind of proposed me for marriage for official reasons only. This is so basically the U.S. Immigration Office quickened our love affair. This is great advice for those in the audience who have hesitant girlfriends and boyfriends. Get the authorities involved. Works like a charm. So I kind of said yes, yeah, for official reasons only. And I applied a renewed visa, a spouse visa. Super excited this time. Went back to the traveler's super conscience, the visa office, stepped in, a spring in my step. I saw them, they saw me, they recognized me this time. I had been a regular customer by this point, albeit a customer who's always denied service. So I went in, and this time they saw a renewed visa as a spouse. Now you have to understand, the immigration authorities cannot keep a US citizen from their spouse, away from their spouse, even if they're across borders, across countries. This was obviously back in the day, prehistoric, pre-2020 times when they believed in family separations. They did not believe in family separation. So they saw that, and this time the first question the visa officer asked me was, why aren't you getting an arranged marriage? For those who don't know what an arranged marriage is, it's when parents get their offspring and a stranger and demand that they sleep together for the rest of their lives. I was like, I'm too old for that. You have to be groomed a certain way. I missed the cut. The visa authorities, like I said, couldn't help it this time. Couldn't keep me. They gave up and they gave me my visa. Following which, I came to America and immediately rushed to a courthouse to get married in the presence of a very bored-looking clerk and a judge. Now, all of this, I have to remind you here. Take a pause. All of this 2-year worth of struggle, the money spent, all the stress, everything, all of this we were doing, I wasn't doing this to gain any special privilege, but literally to have to be with the person I was in love with. All of these struggles, all of these jumping through hoops, not for a privilege, but to simply be with the person I was in love with. That hit me. It still hits me. But this story has a happy ending. I've been raised on enough Bollywood movies to know my closure etiquettes. Last year, I got married for the second time to the same person. Whitney and I flew together to India to get married for the second time. This time, not in the presence of clerks and judges, but in the presence of friends and family. So we could experience a traditional Indian wedding with lovely rituals and the traditional Indian wedding garments, which are like regular clothes but on LSD. And also to establish for once and for all that she is not my foreign business client, but my very lawfully, in fact, twice lawfully wedded wife. I will leave you with this. It was an honor to share this story with you all on a very special day, 53 years ago today. The Loving case was one which allowed for the first time in America for interracial marriages to happen. 53 years only. Before that, it was illegal for people belonging to different race to get married. Go over that for a minute. Thank you.
Hi everyone, namaste. My name is Sandeep Bharadwaj. I am a professional Indian classical violinist, but I also have been kind of learning and practicing vocal for vocal music for the last about 15 years as well. It's been something that has always been very much kept inside myself as I perform violin for various dance programs and music programs around the world. But today, I've decided, with all this time during quarantine, to give this new talent and new interest of mine a shot at coming out, and that's why I'll be performing some vocal songs for you today. This is all in the style of Indian classical music, particularly South Indian classical, which is called Carnatic music. So I hope you enjoy, and sit back, relax, and enjoy. Re re manas bhaj re re manas bhaj re gajananam 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 re re manas bhaj Sara Sara Viharam Sara Sara Viharam Sagala Purana Saram Sara Sara Viharam Sagala Purana Saram Sara Sara Viharam Sagala Purana Saram Karunya Mritapuram Kamashi Modagaram Sara Sara Viharam Sagala Purana Saram Karunya Mritapuram Kamashi Modagaram De De Manas bhaj re gajananam re re manas bhaj re Kanjasana Mukasura Muni Vandita Pada Charitam Kanjasana Mukasura Muni Vandita Pada Charitam Kanchi Puranata Sutam Karnachamaram Kanchipuranatasutam Karnachamaram Manjula Kanaga Bharanam Manchitam Atiyanandam Manjula Kanaga Bharanam Manchitam Atiyanandam Sinjanma Jirayudam Changal Varayanadam Manjula Kanaga Bharanam Manchitam Atiyanandam Sinjalma Jirayudam Changal Varayanatam Re Manas bhaj re gajananam re re manas bhaj Thank you. That was the song Re Re Manasa Bhajare on God Vinayaka. It's actually in this ragam, in the language Sanskrit, Rupa Katalam, in the ragam Nata. Next, I'll be singing a song in the ragam Mukhari, which is a pretty classical South Indian ragam. ಎಂದ ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಿಂತು ಶಬರಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯಂ ಎಂತ 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 ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಿಂತು ಶಬರಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯಂ దాంతుల వరకాంతలు జగదీ జగదంతుల వరకాంతలు జగదంతుల వరకాంతలు జగదంతుల వరకాంతలు జగమంత నిల్డియు జగదంతుల వరకాంతలు జగమంత నిల్డియు జగయంత నిల్నే ನಿಂತು ಶಬರಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯಂ ಎಂತ ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಿಂತು ಶಬರಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯಂ ಕನುಲ ರಸವಿಂಚಿ ಕನುರ ರಸವಿಂಚಿ ಕಮ್ಮನಿ ಫಲಮೂಲ ನೊಸಗಿ ಕನುಲ ರಸವಿಂಚಿ ಕಮ್ಮನಿ ಫಲಮೂಲ ನೊಸಗಿ ತನುವು ಬೊಲಕరించి పాదయుగములను మ్రోకి ఈన కులపతి సముఖంబున పునరావృత్తి రహిత ఈన కులపతి సముఖంబున పునరావృత్తి రహిత పదమును పొందిన త్యాగరాజ ಪರಮುನು ಪೊಂದಿನ ತ್ಯಾಗರಾಜ ನೂತುರಲ್ಲಿ ಪದಮುನು ಪೊಂದಿನ ತ್ಯಾಗರಾಜ ನೂತುರಲ್ಲಿ ಪುಣ್ಯಂ ಮುನೋಯಲ್ತರಿಲ್ಲೇ ನಿಂತುನೋ ಶಬರಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯಮ್ಯಂತ ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಿಂತುನೋ ಶಬರಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯಮು So that was the song Yante Ninne in the Ragam Mukhari. It's actually a quite beautiful song that recognizes the devotion and passion that someone has towards something they've been anticipating for so long, and recognizing how much of a virtue or grace it is that that person got to meet that person after all. So it's a quite beautiful song. The next song that I'll be performing before we bring in our next artist and do kind of a collaboration is a song in the Ragam Kalyana Vasantam. It's also composed by the same person, Saint Tyagaraja, and this ragam is Kalyana Vasantam in the Rupa Katalam. Nadaloludai Brahmananda Nadaloludai Brahmananda Manasanadaloludai Brahmananda Manasanadalolu Dai Brahmananda Manasanadalolu Dai Brahmananda Manasanadalolu Dai Brahmananda Manasanadaloludai Brahmananda Manasanadaloludai Brahmananda Manasanadaloludai Brahmananda Ve Manasanadaloludai Brahmananda Swadupala Prada Swadupala Prada Swadupala Prada Swadupala Prada Swadupala Prada Saptaswara Ragani Jaya Sahita Swadupala Prada Saptaswara Ragani Jaya Sahita Nadalolu Dai Brahmananda Ve Manasanadaloludai Brahmananda Hariharatma Bhusurapati Hariharatma Bhusurapati हरिहरात्मा भूसुरपति हरिहरात्मा भूसुरपति शरजन्म गणेशादि हरिहरात्मा भूसुरपति शरजन्म गणेशादि వరమౌనులో ఉపసించిరే వరమౌనులో ఉపసించిరే ధర త్యాగరాజు వరమౌనులు ఉపసించిరే వర త్యాగరాజు తెలియునాద లోలుడై బ్రహ్మానంద మందర మనసనగలోలుడై బ్రహ్మానంద That was the Ragam Kalyana Vasantam, another composition by Tyagaraja, essentially asking the mind, the senses, all to become immersed in music, and through that reach this eternal bliss. And so the song is very calm and solemn, but very thoughtful. So the next piece that I'll be singing actually is in coordination with a movement artist. So I think she's going to come on now, and we'll do our next piece together. भावयामि गोपालबालं मनसेवितं तत्पदं चिन्तयेऽहं सदा 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 कटिघटितमेखला खचितमणि घण्टिका कटिघटितमेखला खचितमणि घण्टिका कटिघटितमेखला खचितमणिमण्डिका कटिघटितमेखला खचितमणि घण्टिका पटलनिनधेन विभ्राजमानम् कटिघटितमेखला अचितमणिगर्टिका पटलनिनदेन विभ्राजमानम् कुटिलपदघटित सङ्कुलशिल्चितेन दौ कुटिलपदघटित सङ्कुलशिल्चितेन दं चटुलनटना समुज्ज्वल विलासम् चटुलनटना समुज्ज्वल विलासम् चटुलनटना समुज्ज्वल विलासं भावयामि गोपालबालं मनसेवितं तत्पदं चिन्तयेऽहं सदा निरतकरकलित नवनीतम् निरतकरकलित नवनीतम् निरतकरकलित नवनीतम् ब्रह्मादि सुरनिकरभावन शोभितपदम् निरतकरकलित नवनीतम् ब्रह्मादि सुरनिकरभावन शोभितपदम् तिरुवेङ्कटाचलस्थितम् तिरुवेङ्कटाचलस्थितम् अनुपमोहरो तिरुवेङ्कटाचलस्थितम् अनुपमोहरिम् परमपुरुषं गोपाल बालम् परमपुरुषं गोपाल बालम् परमपुरुषं गोपाल बालम् भावयामि गोपाल बालं मनसेवितं तत्पदं चिन्तयेऽहं सदा भावयामि गोपालबालं मनसेवितं तत्पदं चिन्तयेऽहं सदा
Namaste. Thank you, Tuli, for allowing us to collaborate with you on that beautiful piece. The melody that I played was the rag Nut House, which was created by my Bade Guru, which is my guru's guru. It's a combination of the common popular rag Hamsadwani, which came from Carnatic music, as well as rag Nut, which is a family of ragas in Hindustani tradition, the North Indian tradition. Today, I'm very happy to have Saurabh Kumar here with me. Saurabh is an excellent tabla player and a very impressive human being in general. He's agreed to come and accompany me for this live stream. So I'm very thankful to him. And of course, to Mandala, Ashwati, and Pranitanti, thank you so much for allowing us to share on this platform. So today we'll present two ragas. We'll start with rag Bhimpalasi, which is actually a late afternoon raga. It's a little bit after the time for the rag, but I'm feeling the mood. So we'll play rag Bhimpalasi for some time, and as is customary in Hindustani music, I'll conclude with rag Bhairavi. So, rag Bhimpalas. very famous bandish by Sadaran, one of the great composers of Hindustani music. Ja ja re apne mandirva, ja ja re apne mandirva, sun pavegi sasan nadiya, sun pavegi sasan नदिया जा जा रे अपने मंदिर जा जा रे अपने मंदिर जा जा रे जा जा रे अपने मंदिर जा जा रे अपने मंदिर जा जा रे अपने जा जा रे अपने मंदिर जा जा रे जा जा रे जा जा रे जा जा रे अपने मंदिरवा जा जा रे अपने मंदिरवा गम पम गम गरे सा नि सा सा प म गम गम पम गम गरे सा नि सा सा ध प ध प प म प प गम पम गरे सा जा जा रे अपने मंदिरवा जा जा रे अपने मंदिरवा जा जा रे अपने मंदिरवा जा जा रे अपने That was Rag Bhimpalasi. And to conclude with, we'll finish with Rag Bhairavi. Bhairavi is traditionally the last raga in any performance, so it's fitting that we conclude with it today. famous bandish, popularized by Ustad Bismillah Khan, the great Shehnai player. बाट चलत मोरी चुनरी रंग डारी, बाट चलत मोरी चुनरी रंग डारी, रे सो है बदली बनवारी, सो है निठुर तरतन कहू से लंगर, अपनी धिगु दीगी है करत रहत, हे मोरे राम, हे मोरे राम, हे मोरे राम, बाट चलत मोरी चुनरी रंग डारी, बाट चलत मोरी चुनरी रंग डारी, बाट चलत मोरी चुनरी रंग डारी, बाट चलत मोरी चुनरी रंग डारी रे। Thank you for tuning in and listening to us present Rags Bhimpalasi and Bhairavi. Thanks so much to Saurabh for coming to accompany me today. It was very last minute, and you may have seen the tape on his finger. He actually has a little blood blister in his middle finger right now, and he played through it. So he's a champ. So thank you. Conclude with that.
Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in and being witness to the incredible artistry that continues despite these distances. You are the audience that these artists have for the time being and for the future for some time. And I want to thank them for bringing their full energy that I think just transcends these barriers and these screens. Thank you to Chetan Anand for always bringing us just joyous, melodious atmosphere and energy. And for Saurabh Kumar, who is our guest artist tonight, thank you to Tulli Bera, Sandeep Bharadwaj, Jitesh Jaggi, and Natalia Neha Khosla, all just wonderful artists with such perspective and offered such a dynamic evening. And of course, thank you to our Mandala team. Pranitha Nair, our executive artistic director, always provides spaces for emerging generations of artists and is an incredible just nurturer of our art. So we're very lucky to have this platform to share with our Chicago artists. Tomorrow, we still have some live events. We have talkbacks with artists. You'll hear from Jitesh, Chetan, and Sandeep again, as well as some visual artists who will be screening films and presenting their other mixed media work. And we have a panel between myself, Duli, and Natalia Neha, and we will give another opportunity for Neha to present her work because we did have technological issues. So if you missed that, join back. Again, please witness their work on our digital portfolio and see what they've been up to during this time beyond performances, and support their work, contribute. And we'll see you in the next phase of the festival and our virtual artistry. Have a good night.